Tonight, we'll give you the scoop on global affairs, a lawsuit at a Kentucky university, along with sports and entertainment. Stay tuned, it's all coming up right here. Welcome to this week's Norse World Report. I'm Emily Sisk. Thanks for joining us. Israel vows a response to Iran's attack on the country Sunday. CNN's Jeremy Diamond shows the size of one of the hundreds of missiles the Israeli military says was fired by Iran.
This is just one piece of an Iranian ballistic missile that the Israeli military says Iran fired towards Israel over the weekend. At 36 feet long, this is just the fuel tank for that missile. The Israeli military says more than 120 ballistic missiles were fired at Israel in this attack, only a handful of them actually making it through Israel's air defense systems. And the Israeli military believes this missile was likely intercepted. You can see the holes in the sides of this fuel tank. This missile was actually found in the Dead Sea. It was recovered and it was taken to this base in southern Israel. But now Israel says it must respond. It must reestablish deterrence. They say this attack cannot go unanswered. The only question now is how the Israeli military will respond and when. And so when you see that video, you can really just get a sense of the size and the scale of these missiles and the destructive power that they could potentially deliver. I'm told that the warhead on top of that missile would typically weigh about a half a ton of explosives of destructive power. And so you can just think, if these missiles had indeed made it through Israel's air defense systems, the kind of destruction that they could have caused. We also spoke with the Israeli military's top spokesman, Daniel Hagari. He told us that the timing and the mode of this Israeli response to this Iranian attack would be decided by them at a time of their choosing, but he did say that it would come. Jeremy Diamond, CNN.
The first phase of a detailed report on last year's fire in Maui has been released. The state's Attorney General issued it in partnership with UL's Fire Safety Research Institute. The report does not place any blame for how the blaze started or attempt to determine how that happened. Instead, it tracks how the fire progressed to kill 101 people.
We wanted to understand the areas where lives were lost, understand the fire's progression through those areas, which required hundreds of pictures and videos on the ground, from the air, and even reaching out to residents, hundreds of residents, and talking with them about their experience, learning what they observed. And at times they would offer their images to us that were time-stamped, that we can drop into the timeline, and so we can get a better understanding of the fire's progression.
The report blames environmental and geographic factors, along with preparedness and response conditions, for the fire to spread. In the days and weeks following the fire, many people wondered why more residents weren't warned about the approaching flames. Another report by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives will seek to determine what sparked the fire. That's expected later this year. Things are about to get noisy in parts of the country. We're getting hit with a double whammy. 2 broods of cicadas are coming. That's left some pet owners wondering, can they harm dogs or cats? Cicadas don't sting or bite, so you don't have to worry about that. They're also non-toxic. If your dog or cat eats one, it should be no problem. But pets that are allergic to shellfish might get upset stomachs if they ingest one. Also, cicadas have tough exoskeletons that could irritate an animal's GI tract. Just exercise common sense. If your pet shows symptoms of upset stomach after eating one, consult your veterinarian. Experts also say animals that are sensitive to loud noise may be bothered by the sounds of cicadas. If your pet is one of them, take the same measures you do for thunderstorms or fireworks. You've got about 1 month to prepare, and then about a month of cicadas. A dozen of the nation's biggest news organizations are urging President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump to participate in televised debates ahead of the 2024 election. The open letter published this week was signed by a group of major broadcast, cable, and print outlets. Our Washington correspondent, Julia Benbrook, joins us live with the latest on the presidential debate schedule.
In the letter, the news organizations noted that general election debates have played a vital role in presidential elections of the past 50 years and urged the candidates to publicly commit to participating in general election debates before the November election. This comes as Trump's team is pushing for more debates and for the debates to start earlier, a big switch from their stance during the primary season. When former President Donald Trump's primary opponents called on him to debate,
Donald Trump should be on this stage.
Don't you think it's high time he get on a debate stage?
he refused, skipping all 5 Republican debates. But now Trump is urging President Joe Biden to join him on the debate stage soon.
We have an empty podium right here to my right. You know what that is? That's for Joe Biden. I'm trying to get him to debate.
In a letter, the Trump campaign wrote, while the Commission on Presidential Debates has already announced 3 presidential debates and a vice presidential debate to occur later this year, we are in favor of these debates beginning much earlier.
I think he wants to look like the tough guy who wants to debate, but he has a lot of flexibility to get out of it.
Biden has not publicly committed to debating Trump, but he hasn't ruled it out either, telling reporters this last month.
Mr. President, will you commit to a debate with former President Trump? It depends on his behavior.
The first presidential debate is slated to take place in San Marcos, Texas on September 16th. That's 50 days before Election Day. The current schedule has the debate slated to take place earlier than in recent past. In 2020, the first debate between Trump and Biden took place just 35 days before Election Day. And in 2016, Trump and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton met on the debate stage 43 days before the election. Reporting at the White House, I'm Julia Benbrook.
And with that, we'll take it to Cole to see what's coming up in entertainment.
Thank you, Emily. Tonight, I will give you the details on when we come back.
Foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Dad?
Just 1 minute, okay?
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Welcome to this week's Norse Media Entertainment Break. I'm Cole. Taylor Swift fans just can't calm down this week, but don't blame them. The singer is releasing her 11th studio album Friday. Swift shared a teaser of the Tortured Poets department on social media. Fans know the clip is probably riddled with Easter eggs. It shows a peek inside a fictional literary society in a timetable of the release schedule. A calendar reveals a music video is set to drop at 8 p.m. Eastern Time Friday. Fans believe new album will explore her heartbreak after splitting with actor Joe Alwyn. A new movie in theaters this weekend starts off as a crime drama, but quickly becomes something else. David Daniel has a look.
You all came highly recommended.
So whose kid is she?
A very wealthy man who's about to be $50 million poorer.
Joey,
Yeah.
I'm sorry about what's gonna happen to you.
A ballerina vampire.
She pivots from that sweet kid into a monster, and it was genuinely chilling. It was not a gear that we thought existed in that very innocent child.
It was so exciting. Every single day, getting to do things that, is something that you see crazy things in your dreams, like flying and, going on wire work and being able to, bite people and blood going everywhere and blood cannons.
Blood cannons going off in your face is slightly terrifying. they guarantee there's no sort of projectiles other than liquid in there, but you never know.
They used to get a paintbrush, but then it got so much blood, the bottle was just like everywhere, just rubbing it all in like lotion almost, and it was everywhere.
I think that's their favorite thing to say is more blood, because I've been doing this for a really long time. I've been covered in blood, but I've never been covered in so much blood.
Blood piles and piles and piles until it's everywhere.
We got so used to it, we kind of liked it by the end.
Yeah. We had to wash it off every night. Yeah. A lot of shaving foam actually is what gets it off of you.
Shaving foam.
Shaving cream.
Removes
foam.
movie blood.
Mm-hmm.
What can I say? I like playing with my phone.
The BFA Senior Exhibition at Northern Kentucky's School of the Arts features a number of spatial works depicting personal experiences of artists using animals, a video game concept, and a collection of photos reflecting the life of someone loved and lost. At the end of each semester, graduating seniors in the Bachelor of Fine Arts program create their own show to be presented to gallery visitors for a number of weeks before commencement. This show acts as an opportunity for networking and to showcase their work to potential employers or buyers. Viewers of the artwork are able to capture what an artist learns at NKU and understand the type of art each artist can produce. Seniors featured in this year's exhibition took the opportunity to put together a show based on their individual interests and experiences. This spring, 6 seniors ranging from majors from drawing, photography, and integrated media will have their pieces shown in the BFA exhibition, which opened on April 11th and runs until April 26th. That's it for what is happening in entertainment this week. Let's take it back to Emily with the news.
Thank you, Cole. A Kentucky veteran was at the right place at the right time, and more importantly, at the right time for a friend. It was the veteran's training from years ago that kicked in to save a life. Lucy Bryson has the story.
This is Paul Morgan. He wears a number of titles. He's a father, a papaw, a mechanic, but to his best friend, he's a lifesaver.
My mom texted me and she said, "Did you hear that your papaw gave somebody CPR at Walmart today?" Then I called him the next night and asked him about it, and he told me the story, and I thought, this is amazing.
Paul was just outside the Walmart when he ran into his longtime friend Larry.
We were talking and just going on. He just turned and looked at me, and his eyes lit up, and he just fell just like a tree and hit that concrete. I thought he was dead. I'll be honest with you. He turned blue in the face and stuff, and I just said, "Lord, don't let him die." That's what I said.
He jumped into action by giving Larry CPR. He began breathing before the ambulance came. Paul watched the ambulance take his friend away.
When they was loading him, he looked at me and he said, "I'll see you, Paul." And I know then it's going to be all right.
Paul spent 2 years in the military. That's where he learned CPR. It's been 60 years since he was trained, but he says in the moment something clicked.
You don't forget it. It's just like learning to drive or learning to drive by a bicycle.
My papa always thinks about other people before himself. It's not really about him. He just wants to do what he can for other people.
When I reached out to the family to share this story, the initial plan was to have Larry here too, sitting next to the man who saved his life. But unfortunately, Larry had a family emergency and had to be with his daughter in the hospital. Paul was emotional, reflecting on the fact that because of his actions, Larry is still here and able to support his family.
Life's so uncertain. And I think the most important thing is to be ready to go. I would do it again for anybody.
A touching story there out of Rockcastle County, Kentucky. And looking now at legal news, 2 former University of Kentucky student athletes have filed a sexual abuse lawsuit against the university. The plaintiffs, including swimming alumni Alexander Briggs, accused former head coach Lars Jorgensen of sexual assault. The lawsuit, which was filed last Friday, is against Jorgensen, the athletic director, another former swim coach, and the university as a whole. Speaking out this past week, Briggs believes that more victims will continue coming forward.
I could not have slept at night 10 years from now if I knew that I didn't speak up or at least didn't say something. And I think that's the biggest thing is there were other people that confided in me and I shared their story and I needed to do something about it.
Briggs accused Jorgensen of abuse from grooming to multiple instances of rape. The university released a statement on Wednesday saying they are, quote, distressed to hear the disturbing allegations. UK police are currently investigating. A case of the measles has been reported in Cincinnati. An out-of-town visitor who flew from Chicago to CVG on April 10th tested positive for the measles, according to the Cincinnati Health Department. The individual also visited Morton's Steakhouse on Vine Street, as well as the Hyatt Regency Cincinnati. The health department recommends anyone who has been exposed to measles and has experienced any fever, cough, or rash to get tested. If you have received the vaccine or have had measles before, the health department said you are at very low risk. Now let's take it over to Jacob to hear about your upcoming sports break.
Thanks, Emily. Updates on NKU softball and baseball teams, coaching change in college basketball, and a former NKU basketball player on the move. These topics and more come to you next on the NKU Sports Break.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back.
when you want to talk, I'm here.
Welcome to the NKU Sports Break. I'm your host, Jacob Staley. The NKU baseball team won their last game against Union College, Kentucky on Tuesday, winning 8-3. Their next game is an away game against Oakland Friday at 3:30. They moved to 23-13 on the season. The NKU softball team lost their last game to Dayton on Tuesday, losing 5-4. Their next game is against Youngstown State Friday at 3. They moved to 17-15 on the season. Mark Pope is the new basketball head coach of Kentucky Wildcats. Kentucky fans packed Rupp Arena last Sunday for a press conference after Mark Pope was hired last Friday. Tens of thousands of fans showed up to hear Mark Pope talk about his new head coaching job at the University of Kentucky. Mark Pope stated that he understands the assignment of being head coach at Kentucky, which is to win banners and national championships. Mark Pope was a former Kentucky Wildcat player, winning national championship in 1996. Now he's the new head coach of the Kentucky Wildcats and has a chance of winning a national championship at his alma mater. Former NKU basketball star Marquez Warwick has committed to his next school. Marquez Warwick posted on his social media Wednesday that he will be playing for the Missouri Tigers next season. During his 4 seasons here at NKU, he accomplished a lot, most of all being the all-time leading scorer in NKU men's basketball history. He's joining a team that struggled last season in the SEC, finishing 8-24. With the addition of Warwick, they could turn it around next season. That'll do it for this week's edition of the NKU Sports Break. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you back here next week. Now back to Emily with the news.
Thank you, Jacob. Caitlin Clark has officially taken her talents to the WNBA. The Superstar University of Iowa guard walked the orange carpet in New York late Monday afternoon. By early evening, Clark was made the #1 pick in the WNBA draft. She was selected by the Indiana Fever. The all-time leading scorer in NCAA Division I basketball now turns to a professional career. The 22-year-old will try to resurrect an Indiana Fever franchise that hasn't made the postseason since 2016. Clark's new team will appear on national TV in 36 of their 40 regular season games. Clark's first preseason game with the Fever is May 3rd in Dallas. Her team season opener is May 14th on the road against the Connecticut Sun. The Fever's first home game is 2 days later. And still about Caitlin Clark, the Caitlin Clark Fever is still going strong. Minutes after WNBA's Indiana Fever selected her with the first pick on Monday night, Dick's Sporting Goods stores in Iowa started selling her new jersey. Store managers who tried to keep Hawkeye merchandise in stock will now try to keep up with the Fever demand.
All the way from Christmas time through, I mean, we didn't have nearly enough in stock for just the regular jersey t-shirts and whatnot. And then it's just been nonstop orders coming in still today.
Clark was selected as the #1 overall in the WNBA draft. She ended her career as an Iowa Hawkeye after falling to the South Carolina Gamecocks in the NCAA Women's Championship game. People wanting to get their money's worth at Red Lobster may have done so at the expense of the restaurant itself. The company is reportedly looking into filing for bankruptcy protection, according to reporting from Bloomberg. There are several reasons for that, including the cost of its leases and labor. But the $11 million Red Lobster recently lost on its endless shrimp deal certainly hasn't helped matters. Sources say the chain hasn't decided if it's going to file Chapter 11. If it does, that's the type of bankruptcy protection that allows businesses to continue operating while they restructure. Some students in suburban Baton Rouge, Louisiana, are getting something most others could only dream of, a 4-day school week. Administrators think it'll make them more engaged, well-rounded, and better performers. Gabriela Mercurio explains.
Like many school districts nationwide, Baker School Superintendent J.T. Stroder says they've had some issues with students bouncing back from the pandemic.
There just seemed to be this lack of interest, lack of effort applied towards academics, showing up to school. Behavior seemed a little worse.
And principal of Baker High School, Dr. Candence Russell, says they've been trying to make some changes.
Concentrated on this year was creating a culture, changing the culture here at Baker High School, and that includes changing the behavior as well as academics.
But a new idea might just be the trick. Stroder's working on implementing a 4-day school week for the district's juniors and seniors next year. He believes he'll see improvements in students all around if they're only in school from Monday through Thursday And juniors like Kennedy Alexander and Xavier Love believe it'll give them more time to balance school and sports.
I feel like it'll be an amazing opportunity for a lot of the kids in my grade, especially because a lot of us have jobs. A lot of us, we participate in after-school activities, and I feel like it's an amazing incentive.
It gives me more time to prepare, for football games on a Friday night, and, just letting go all that stress with school, giving me more time to study, do homework and stuff like that.
Love thinks it'll also better prepare them for college, too.
I know in college, you got your own schedule, you on your own basically, so having a 4-day week, it'll really prepare me for the next level.
But Stroder says there are some requirements for the program.
They would have to meet an attendance criteria, a behavior criteria, elite performance criteria, a GPA criteria.
For those juniors and seniors who don't initially meet the requirements, they're not ruled out just yet. Russell says students will get help and be reevaluated for the program each semester.
We will use our Fridays to help students, to use them to do some preparation for their ACT testing, for their LEAP assessments, and so forth.
The timing of this also coincides with when Baker High School students move into a brand new building. The change is sure to be a hit among the kids who qualify. And with that, thank you for joining us for today's Norse World Report. You can find us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Northerner Media and at NKU World Report. Thanks for tuning in and stay classy, NKU.